Next on Startup, we're going to New York City to talk to Helen, Derek, and Jan, who started Low & Sons, the unique carry-all bag company for travelers on the go. Then we stop in Detroit, Michigan to talk to Rob and Robert, who created Detroit Mercantile Company, a retail store that offers customers an authentic taste of Detroit culture. Then we head to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to talk to Judi and family, who started It's My Party Cakery, a bakery that puts a touch of art into every delicious dessert. All of this and more is next on Startup.
The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well. In Walsh College's business launch entrepreneurial community, consultants provide advice to aspiring business starters. More information available online.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support Startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.
My name is Gary Brado, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and an entrepreneur. The economy is in less than perfect shape, and when the jobs go away, there's nothing left to do but get up and get creative. And there are people all over America doing just that. It's estimated that up to 85% of new businesses fail. So I'm going coast to coast to hear the personal stories of the people who beat the odds and started a successful business from the ground up. This is Startup. I'm on Broome Street in New York City, and we're going to talk to Helen, Derek, and Jan, who created Low & Sons travel bags. Now, when Helen realized that the bag that she wanted to buy didn't actually exist, she called on her sons to help fill that demand, and it changed the course of their lives. Let's go hear their story. As the economy begins to recover and disposable income steadily grows, revenue for handbag and luggage accessories will increase at an average annual rate of 1.2% to $9.2 billion. Growing disposable income is expected to rebound spending on luxury goods and spending on travel, which is creating a demand for luggage items. Helen Lowe couldn't seem to find a piece of luggage that met all of her travel needs, and after a series of trial and error, her and her sons have created a solution that finally served not only her needs, but fills a gap in the market. How did you get involved in making bags?
I'm in Beijing, it's the summertime. I was working for a product design and research consultancy. My mom, she's having more time finally to do things on her own and get some traveling. And so she was looking for a bag and she's like, oh, you know, like this bag for this and that bag for that, but like, I can't find this bag that has all the things I'm looking for. And I kind of made a half joke. I was like, well, why don't you just make your own bag then?
Walk me through the steps of that first conception all the way to the prototype.
Okay, the first conception was actually doing the research.
So I went to like airports, commuting areas in Hong Kong, and just kind of like looked at how people travel and what bags they were type of using.
The next thing was finding a designer. And Jan had a friend who's an industrial designer, and he came up with a tech pack. And the next thing was factory. We didn't know anything about factories. So my husband went to college with a friend who's in Hong Kong, and he's big in the supply chain management. So he asked him for a recommendation, and we found a factory. But we also found that it's really important to pick a factory that is referred by someone, because otherwise you don't know what you're getting. And we were very lucky to find someone who was willing to take us on, because they realized that neither one of us have been in the business. We were not that lucky initially with our tech pack, our specifications, the drawings
so
they gave them. They didn't like it, all right?
They didn't like it?
Because they make handbags, and our bag was more functional. So what the factory was good enough, they had someone there who designs bags, and he's one of the owners. So he worked with us.
We actually went through 7 rounds of prototyping with them. And I think what was a lot different from our process than what they were used to is that, you know, each round of prototyping, we would actually have people use it and test it out and actually get feedback on what we could adjust to make it, really think about like the use, like traveling and just the comfort and all these thoughtfully considered things. And you know, most fashion brands, they make maybe 3 rounds of prototypes. So we were like getting to 6 and 7,
they
and
loved
they're like,
you guys.
yeah, they're like, what's going on, guys?
Absolutely loved you, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
I have never found a bag that when I do this, it behaves that way. Like, this is pretty perfect.
So it's a well-mannered bag.
Incredibly well-mannered, very well behaved. It has just the right amount of pockets. I keep my laptop in here. I travel with it. Pretty much everything.
It's estimated that in 2013, the leather good and luggage manufacturing industry will grow by 2.6% to $4.1 billion. What is your business model? Did it start online and then went retail? So explain the whole process.
To be honest, we did not really think about the business model of the product. We just focused on the bag and making sure we had a nice product.
Why is that? Because most businesses at least consider sales.
We did.
Right?
I think our approach was different because we actually took things one step at a time. All right? I mean, we did not go by the textbook kind of approach with a business plan. We know that that's the proper thing to do, but we didn't do it mainly because I think we didn't have the goal of, setting up a retail store.
We had spent a lot of time designing the website, and so when some people went to our website, their impression was like, oh, it's actually a pretty legitimate brand. They have really cool products, and we ended up starting to sell a lot through our website, and then just naturally, organically, it grew through e-commerce.
Where did those funds come from?
For us, it was not a large undertaking because we were not thinking of a brick and mortar store. We did not have to think about lease. We also had a lot of miles because my husband travels a lot. And then also working with the factory, as we developed, we didn't have to pay. We were lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend that to everyone because because it would cost more.
Global luggage and leather goods industry revenue is expected to reach $91.2 billion by 2018. Talking about creating a brand, how do you do that from scratch?
Our way was definitely based around social media, and I think because we had built a pretty nice website, it allowed us to kind of, with limited resources, get our name out there. And we kind of were in this like weird space between handbags and luggage, and so what we needed to do is we needed to show the functionality and also build like social proof. And so what we did is we gave a lot of bags away to, online influencers. And as a result, with the word of mouth online and social media, we're able to start building a brand.
What is your advice to other people looking to start something, like either early in your career like these guys, later in your career like yourself? What would you say to other people that are in the same position?
I don't think it's the age. I think it's at the stage you're in, and also following your heart and your passion. And as Derek says, being authentic. You don't do what other people do without knowing what the hell you're doing.
That's
right?
true.
You don't start a business just because, wow, someone else started a business or someone else had a restaurant.
Or if in your case, just because you needed the bag.
Right.
Well, it's kind of true, though. I mean, you guys went out there and made sure other people needed it, too.
Right,
And that was a calculated, educated decision that puts you in the position that you're in.
Right.
Well, it's definitely been an eye-opening conversation for sure, inspirational, and I learned a lot. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Low & Sons is truly a family business, and sometimes the best invention is hanging right off your shoulder. Things can always be made smarter, better, simpler, and as long as you have the commitment to see it all the way through to the bitter end, anything is possible. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Low & Sons. I'm on Russell Street in Detroit, Michigan, and we're going to go talk to Robert and Robert, who with their third partner, Sherri, created the Detroit Mercantile Company. There's definitely been a shift in consumer consciousness about how products are being made. So with their years of experience and the general store concept, these three are creating one of Detroit's most memorable retail experiences. Let's go hear their story. Americans are definitely spending more at retail giants than they are at independent retailers. But the fight for market share continues to play out on a local level. Independent retailers are attracting longtime customers, due to their unique store presence and ability to carry hard-to-find products. Rob and Robert took their experience in small business, combined with their love for Detroit, and started the Detroit Mercantile Company, a unique store that offers a curated collection of new and vintage items. In starting the store, what did it take? What were the beginnings of the Detroit Mercantile Company?
The whole store started with the big front counter. We knew we wanted to do sort of a mercantile feel to it, so we located this old 1900s counter and set that in place. Said, okay, let's build the store around that. The space we're in right now, Robert had been using the space for a couple years for his own warehousing and online fulfillment for Detroit manufacturing in his office. It was a pretty, bare bones, warehousey looking place. It was almost unleasable. People didn't think that this was a good spot for retail. They thought it was too far away from the Eastern markets and you're in a residential building. For all the reasons why nobody else liked it was the reason we looked at it. So this is exactly why it should be a retail space. It's not right in the market. It's one of the places that you can, in the Eastern Market District, where you can actually park in front of the place that you're trying to get to, as opposed to having to park and walk a few blocks.
Did you guys have to take out a personal loan or a business loan?
There were no formal resources for us to get. What I would say to anybody who's watching who's in that position is, the truth is, you already know where to get enough resources to start a business if you're serious about it, if your vision is strong, if your skill set is developed to the point where you're ready to do it. The resources are really there, and enough to get started and enough to test your vision out.
And you said the formal resources just aren't there. You mean the banks aren't giving money out?
No.
The process,
especially for new retail outside the Eastern market, off the beaten path.
No.
In 2007, Americans spent an average of $2,520 at their local independent retailer. They only spent $941 at Walmart and an additional $5,615 at other big box chains. What are you holding?
The term for it, there's a couple terms for it. It's called Fordite or Detroit agate. It's a material that's been used for years. People have been making jewelry or paperweights or other crafts out of it, but it's one of the things, it's got a good tie to Detroit or Michigan, the region. It's a good, it's a good story.
That's different layers of paint?
This is just different layers and layers of automotive paint built up. If you give it to a skilled jeweler, they can take and cut and polish it and then turn it into a piece of jewelry like that.
Is this your first time at the Detroit Mercantile Company?
Actually, it is.
It is?
It is.
What is the vibe and the feeling that you get when you walk into the store?
It's Detroit. It really is.
Why?
You know what? I've always gone, and most Detroiters always know, they know the Deli and the Alley, which is huge on Wayne State. This is the vibe. This is Detroit. This is the Eastern Market. You know you're in Detroit when you walk in the store.
This is, it's a senses place. Touch, taste, feel, and I find it interesting. You want people to come in first before they experience you virtually.
I mean, the purpose of the Mercantile is to come in and see it. It's feel the good, feel what the quality is, see the store, be part of the surroundings. And we've launched a website. A few months ago, we started building it and started populating it, and we're still in the process of that. We haven't really reached out and told people, go to our website to shop.
because we wanted the store to be experiential first.
Right. What's the number one question that you need to ask yourself before opening a business?
I think the first thing you look at is this something that I really enjoy doing? Am I happy with it? Am I happy telling people this is what I do for a living? Am I happy bringing people into the store and showing them? If you're happy with that, if you can say yes to that, then that's the first thing you have to do.
The second thing you have to ask is this a brand for one?
Right.
Are we the only people who are going to love this store? Because if Robert and Robert are the only two people who want to buy locally made jeans and recast vintage hardware accessories, and it doesn't matter what else you do, it's just not going to go anywhere.
What do you have to say to people that have doubt in brick and mortar retail in today's market?
Retail's alive and well. We conceived the brand pretty thoroughly before we started preparing to open the doors. And that's really where you start, is with philosophy. And that's where retail and other businesses are made or broken. If you know who your customer is and your customer really exists, retail's a great business to be in.
Consumerism for the sake of consumerism is not what's important, and that's not what in our store of anything is not about that. It's about finding really high quality things and good things that are locally produced and are important, and connecting people with that. And I think it's a real shift.
We feel like the value proposition in 21st century retail is different. And then we're just at the front end of the market in that respect.
Americans spent $177 billion on apparel in 2009 and $88.8 billion on furniture. Can you explain to me what your greatest hardship or lesson learned in business to this day would be, so that maybe somebody else could take it and not have to make the same mistake?
Mine would be not to take things personally. As with any business or any relationship, there are some people in the world that just aren't nice to deal with. 10,000 other people that you can work with that'll be happy to work with you, and other products and other services, and just go find what is easy to work with and has the same vision that you have, and don't take any of it personally. That's how I
Hard lessons build character.
No, most definitely.
The biggest lesson I think that I've learned in owning and running my own business is to know what you do and know what you don't do. It's important to me to know what I'm doing and know why I'm doing it, and to operate according to that every day.
So stay within your own rules, standards, and guidelines that you've set for yourself.
Absolutely.
And don't let maybe dollar signs or
Short-term
anything else.
opportunities.
Yep. Cloud that.
Big dollar signs.
Unless they're really
Really
big
big dollar signs.
Lesson learned, okay? Add 2 zeros and I might compromise.
Exactly, sometimes.
Ugh, I don't know. Well, thank you guys so much for
thank
talking
you so
with
much.
me.
I appreciate it.
really appreciate it.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You should never be willing to sacrifice the integrity of your brand. You have to understand who your customer is, and you should only focus on the highest quality level of manufacturing. 3 pieces of advice that could redefine retail. For more information, log on to our website and click the link for Detroit Mercantile Company. I'm standing on the corner of Blue Mound and 53rd in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're gonna go in to talk to Judi and family, who started It's My Party Cakery. Now, Judi had to overcome a lot of hardships to start this business. What she ended up with was a very sustainable business. She brought her family much closer together, and she creates some amazing baked goods. Let's go in and hear her story. The global baked goods industry is expected to exceed $310 billion in 2015. Demand for baked goods and pastries are being driven by changing lifestyles, leaving people little time to prepare homemade confections. Factors fueling market expansion also include convenience, affordability, and the demand for a healthier baked product. Judi started baking elaborate cakes for her children's birthday parties, which helped her gain the confidence of her family and friends to turn this passion into a business. And with the support of her husband and children, Judi is designing some of the most celebrated cakes in Wisconsin. I want to know who you are as a person.
Well, I remember all my life wanting to do things with my hands and create things. When I was about 13 years old, that's when I started in decorating. My aunt was my inspiration. She did cake decorating out of her home. Then through the years, I had to get out of the house. I was a stay-at-home mom with my kids. They had the best birthday cakes on the block, and the envy of the entire neighborhood. And I decided I needed to venture out of the house. Eventually ended up as office manager for a painting company, and then went to a big bike store, and I was there for several years as the office manager, bookkeeper, and then ventured on through to an attorney's office where I worked there for 5 years. Every day that I sat behind the desk and worked on a bankruptcy or worked on an eviction or whatever, all I thought about was going home and finishing my cakes.
Tell me about It's My Party.
Well, It's My Party is all about custom cakes. I love to create custom cakes. I don't want your cake to look like cake. I want it to look like something else. I'm a hands-on person. I want to be able to do things with my hands and be able to use my creative process. And sitting behind the desk wasn't doing it for me.
In this area, why did you choose this location?
Well, looking for a nice place that you can start a business is harder than you think. I, first of all, didn't have the funding to be able to put a kitchen in anywhere. It was way out of my reach. It's a centralized location, and so that was a key element. I wasn't way on the south side, I wasn't way on the north side. I mean, I'm pretty accessible all the way around throughout the city.
Talk about your family a little bit. How did they feel about that? Was it a constant stream of support? Were they always pushing you?
All my kids Very supportive. My youngest daughter pretty much works side by side with me. After grumbling and growling and fighting and kicking and screaming, she's now, found a love for it too.
In 2011, the U.S. bakery industry included 2,800 commercial bakeries with an annual revenue of $30 billion. There were also 6,000 retail bakeries with a total annual revenue of $3 billion.
How does it feel to work in this business here with family, and how has it changed your life since this business has opened?
Our life's gotten very much busier and hectic, but it's fun. It's a good group meeting together, always working as a family. You can't beat that.
It's chaotic. It's more of a controlled chaos. We all know what needs to be done, but it's good being around the family.
All right, let's make some cake.
Yes. We are kneading fondant or conditioning fondant and
fondant. What is fondant?
Fondant.
Fondant.
As some people call it.
What is this substance?
It's actually a rolled sugar. But before you can put it on a cake or do anything with it, you have to condition it. You have to get it soft and pliable like Play-Doh. And then we're going to add some color. I got green for you and purple for me. Now this here is, some people use powdered sugar.
Okay.
Some people use cornstarch. I prefer cornstarch. And we just want to powder the table.
Okay.
You want to kind of flatten it out with, well, yours is kind of flat already.
Okay. By chance.
And take your roller and just gently start pressing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the pillow in purple.
Okay.
And then we're going to use the green as an accent. I'll let you use a ruler here, and I want you to cut me out some stripes.
There's one.
Beautiful. I'm going to try and make a little diamond design on it quickly. So out of this, I want you to roll some up. Just grab a chunk, roll it up, and we're going to make a button on the top here.
Okay, so this is a 5-minute pillow. Absolutely incredible. It looks all fluffy and cozy like a real pillow, and I'm so hungry I actually just want to grab it and eat it.
The increased demand for organically incorporated ingredients is growing at about 5% a year in the bakery industry.
So what's the name of your organization?
Well, we are WIBIC, the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation. We're community development financial institutions.
Is that a national thing?
Right.
Okay.
And basically what we do is, we help folks, again, that can't be banked, or they're startups, or, basically someone who just can't get financing through a bank.
What could you say about Judi and her? Does she kind of exemplify the type of people that your organization is looking for?
Yeah, we're looking for people that have that typical entrepreneurial spirit that really, again, they have a backup plan behind what they're doing. It's not just they're shooting it out on a shingle. Mm-hmm. There's something there's concrete here. It's just that it's not quite on paper yet.
What advice would you give to other people that were in your position?
Ask questions from anybody that you know. A lot of times you don't know what questions to ask, so just start asking any question. There's no stupid question. Start looking around at some of the businesses that you're trying to simulate and see what they're doing.
What kind of passion do you really need to be able to succeed at something like this?
Well, you have to like what you're doing.
That's kind of the point, right?
Yeah. I guess it's an inner drive. How bad do you want this? I mean, if you have the choice to do something that you love to do versus being forced to do something that you hate to do every day, what would you choose? I'm going to do something I love to do. Then it's not work. This doesn't work. It's work, don't get me wrong, but it's not work. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm doing what I love to do.
And that's the icing on the cake right there.
You got it.
Well, this is definitely a family affair. And the recipe is a passion for what you do and the inability to ever give up on your dream. For more information about Judi's business, log on to our website and click the link for It's My Party.
I'm Danny Meyer, the CEO of Union Square Hospitality Group. I think an entrepreneur needs to have such a deep love for the topic and belief in the idea and in him or herself that they almost are blind to the notion that they might fail. I think entrepreneurs are really bad at understanding the underbelly of a business plan. I think great entrepreneurs surround themselves with people who can protect the downside, but all they really see is the opportunity to succeed.
Next time on Startup, we're going to Chicago, Illinois to meet with Mike, who started Union Sushi, a local hangout that combines Japanese cuisine with an American vibe. Then, we're going to Cleveland, Ohio to talk to Mike and Brian from eFuneral, a website that simplifies funeral planning. And finally, we're going to Indianapolis, Indiana to talk to Mike and Aaron, who started Promise Monsters, a business that sells acts of kindness through handmade plush monsters. Make sure to join us next time on Startup. Visit our website at startup-usa.com and like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. What do you call organic food? What did they call organic food in 1950?
No idea.
Food.
Exactly. Exactly.
The entrepreneurial spirit is alive and well in Walsh College's business launch entrepreneurial community. Consultants provide advice to aspiring business starters. More information available online.
The Chevrolet Volt, an everyday electric car with gas for longer trips. The nature of things to come. Chevrolet, find new roads.
American Express is proud to support startup and the millions of small businesses that put in the hard work to be open for business in neighborhoods across the country.